In the small, isolated town of Red Creek, the sun had long set, casting eerie shadows over the deserted streets. The townsfolk, wise to the legends of the area, knew better than to venture out after dark. For as long as anyone could remember, whispers of the Skinwalker had haunted their dreams. Jake, a skeptical journalist from the city, arrived in Red Creek determined to debunk the myth. He had heard of the Skinwalker, a shape-shifting creature from Native American folklore, but he believed it to be nothing more than superstition. He was here for a story, and he was sure there was a rational explanation. As he checked into the only motel in town, the elderly clerk eyed him with a mix of pity and fear. "You hear about the Skinwalker?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Jake nodded, and she shook her head. "Some things are better left alone, son." Ignoring her warning, Jake set out the next morning to interview the locals. Most refused to speak to him, their eyes darting nervously as they hurried away. But old Tom, a reclusive farmer, agreed to talk. Over a cup of bitter coffee, Tom recounted his encounter with the Skinwalker years ago. "It was a night like any other," Tom began, his hands trembling. "I was out checking on my livestock when I saw a coyote standing on two legs, its eyes glowing unnaturally. It spoke to me in a voice that wasn't human. I ran and never looked back." Intrigued but unconvinced, Jake decided to explore the outskirts of town that night, armed with a flashlight and his skepticism. He drove to the edge of the dense forest that bordered Red Creek. The moonlight barely penetrated the thick canopy, and an unnatural silence hung in the air. As he ventured deeper into the woods, a sense of unease crept over him. The stories of the Skinwalker echoed in his mind, but he shook them off. Just folklore, he muttered to himself. Suddenly, a rustling in the underbrush made him freeze. He swung his flashlight around, but saw nothing. Continuing onward, Jake stumbled upon an old, abandoned cabin. The door creaked open as he pushed it, revealing a room filled with strange symbols etched into the walls. A chill ran down his spine as he recognized the symbols from his research protective wards against evil. Suddenly, a blood-curdling howl pierced the silence. Jake's heart pounded as he spun around, his flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. In the distance, he saw a figure half human, half animal standing on a ridge, watching him with glowing eyes. Fear gripped him, but his curiosity overpowered it. He slowly approached, and the creature began to shift, its form blurring and twisting. Jake's rational mind struggled to comprehend what he was seeing. "This can't be real," he whispered. The Skinwalker let out a low growl, its eyes never leaving Jake. "Leave this place," it snarled, its voice a chilling mix of human and beast. Jake took a step back, but his journalistic instincts kept him rooted to the spot. "Why are you here?" he asked, his voice shaking. The Skinwalker bared its teeth in a grotesque smile. "To protect the land," it replied, "to punish those who do not respect it." Realizing he was in over his head, Jake slowly retreated. The Skinwalker watched him, its form shifting between human and animal as it stalked him back to his car. As he drove away, he glanced in the rearview mirror and saw the creature standing in the road, its eyes glowing in the darkness. Back at the motel, Jake frantically packed his bags, his hands trembling. The old clerk watched him with sad eyes. "I told you," she said softly, "some things are better left alone." And so, the tale of the Skinwalker remained an enduring mystery, a chilling reminder that some stories are not meant to be solved, but simply respected and feared. Jake left Red Creek that night, vowing never to return. He wrote his article, but it was different from what he had planned. Instead of debunking the myth, he told the truth as he had experienced it. The story became a sensation, but Jake never felt proud of it. Every night, he was haunted by nightmares of the Skinwalker. Its glowing eyes and snarling voice echoed in his mind, a constant reminder of the thin line between reality and legend. He had sought to uncover the truth, but he had found something far more terrifying, a truth that defied explanation. Years later, as he lay on his deathbed, Jake still saw the Skinwalker's eyes in his dreams. The townsfolk of Red Creek remained silent about the legend, their warnings to outsiders never changing, and deep in the forest, the Skinwalker continued its vigil, a guardian of the ancient land, its legend growing with each passing year.